I'm Tony Scott with bnetTV. We are here at the mHealth Summit in Washington in 2013. I am speaking with Mr. Harry Greenspun from Deloitte. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Excellent. For all of the people out there in bnetTV land, tell me why Deloitte is here at the mHealth Summit.
Well, Deloitte is one of the largest providers of healthcare consulting services and other service to the healthcare industry for payers, provider, life sciences, and government. And we're doing a lot of more work in the digital space. We recently acquired a company called Ubermind. We're doing more work in launching, again, our Deloitte digital practice. And our healthcare clients are looking for more solutions in the mobile space, as it's an area that's of greater interest to them.
So you have you've spoken a number of times yesterday. So why don't you give me a little brief overview of what some of those highlight points were?
Well, it's interesting. We had a talk this morning on where we had participants from Kaiser Permanente and also from the Veterans Administration, Department of Veterans Affairs, talking about the kind of work that they're doing to bring mobile apps to their beneficiaries and how that's really transforming the care that they can provide. And then also look at the regulatory environment of what's happening with FCC and FDA and CMS to help promote or in some cases present some barriers to adoption of mHealth.
So it's a good point. Barriers to the adoption of mHealth. Had obviously a good chance to talk to a wide gamut of people during the course of the show so far. Talked to Ms. Meyer from Pfizer, and we were talking about the fact that, okay, you got some big pharma that know that they have to get involved, but these are organizations that are used to working at scale of like 15 years to do something. Not that it takes that long, but they're just, whereas the tech industry we work in months. So yeah. There's sort of this clash of idea where they're like, I don't understand how you can do it that fast. We have to test and test and retest. But it needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, traditionally healthcare has been very cautious, and if you
for the right reasons, sometimes.
Often for the right reasons, not always for the right reasons, but healthcare has been very slow to change, and very even if you think of yourself as a patient, if you show up in an emergency room and you've got something wrong with you, and a doctor says, "We're going to do this the way that we've always done it, and we have very good proven outcomes, or we could try this new cool thing. What would you like?" And we take a big step back and say, you know what? As progressive I am, I kind of want the traditional way.
Right.
I'll set my phone and all this other stuff aside and go with what's known. But what we're realizing is that healthcare has a lot of issues. We have an unsustainable healthcare system. We have a lot of waste. We have a lot of redundancy, a lot of problems in healthcare, which technology can address. And if we can learn lessons from other industries of how they've transformed those industries to get better efficiency, better quality, better consumer satisfaction, we can make a real dent in some of these problems in healthcare.
So I don't think that from the people that I've spoke with so far that there's a lot of initiatives or devices or business models that are trying to deal with emergency style issues, right? There's not surgeries that are being performed over cell phones or tablets. There's no diagnoses that are going any further than a particular consult over a device. It's much more monitoring, empowering the consumer with their own set of data to make their own decisions, monitoring and data pushing to other healthcare facilitators, and that alone has a social economic impact. So the large pharma, as far as I think this industry's perspective, they need to come in and embrace this situation because they're going to sell more drugs. It's going to get into the hands of the right people. It's not going to be as many accidents just for the sheer fact that the volume of data can be disseminated in the proper manner.
One thing to think about is that the way the industry is evolving is that when we move toward a system of accountable care or value-based care, is that patients need to be prescribed drugs when they're appropriate. They have to have the right drug. And those drugs have to demonstrate they're more effective. And they're not only more effective in the lab, and not only effective under very controlled circumstances, but they're effective in the way people take them. And so if you have an excellent medication which people can't remember to take or it's too complicated, versus you have another medication that someone might be able to have a companion app with that will boost compliance and deal with side effects and help them deal with issues related to that, And that ultimately, as a result of having both a medication and a companion app or some other therapy, you get a better outcome, then it actually starts to make a difference. And I think we'll see more and more of pharma doing it. We'll see more physicians prescribing these types of apps to get better outcomes for their patients. You know, it's an exciting time.
It is an exciting time. I've referenced this maybe many times so far during this show and interviews, but it's very Star Trek-like. You know, the analysis, and again, I come back to the amount of data that can be collected by some of these devices that can be analyzed in the cloud or by different particular systems is allowing for a better progression of medicine and health overall. The computers they're not doing it for you, they're just telling you what the issues could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to think about though is that, you know, there's a tremendous amount of data we can collect. You know, and I've got an activity monitor on me, and you know, my bicycle computer can track my heart rate based upon my GPS coordinates. Does my doctor care about that? No.
No.
And so what we need to identify is how can we take the kind of information we can collect in these devices, whether it's remote monitoring or on your phone or other ways, and how can we actually tie that back in a useful and productive fashion to the information we have in what I call mainstream healthcare? How do we connect those two together and use analytics to make better decisions and find out more things, whether it's about behavioral health or chronic disease, that what you can learn using mobile devices and those types of apps with, you know, mainstream healthcare.
So finally then, Harry, for Deloitte and what you're doing and what you're speaking about, what is 2013 going to look like for you and your clients?
Well, 2013 to me, it's going to be an exciting time. I mean, our clients are facing enormous fiscal pressures related to what's going on right now, you know, great consumer pressures as well. And so we look at as the broader industry moves toward, you know, more accountable care. They're going to be looking to innovation to find ways of sharing data, coordinating care, engaging consumers, and getting analytics done to make sense of it all.
I like where you're coming from there. I think that is a fair and sound policy. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you very, very much for the opportunity. I hope we get a chance for an update again in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
I've been speaking with Mr. Harry Greenspun from Deloitte here at the mHealth Summit in Washington. I'm Tony Sklar with bnetTV.